And we're back for our second best of three of the day. RoX.KIS taking on Team Dignitas in our lower bracket finals. Dignitas finds themselves down in the lower bracket after being bounced in our first series of the day. It was actually a series in which they were already down to begin with because of the way things played out. They took on Team Liquid mere moments ago, and Liquid able to punch their ticket into the grand finals. Dignitas on the losing end of that one-game loss, which then, because they came into that series trailing one game as they were elevated out of the lower bracket to begin with after Navi's departure from the tournament. Now they're back down in the lower bracket and ready to face off against RoX.KIS. Now, RoX.KIS has been showing the world a lot over the last week. They did just end up getting bounced out of the TI Western qualifiers. Sorry for spoilers, but still, got to talk about that. The fact that it is going to be a pretty bad loss they're going to have to shake off if they want to keep things on track here in the KIS Invitational and so on and so forth. But for the most part, RoX.KIS has really been turning a lot of heads. They've been playing above what most considered to be their natural skill ceiling and showing that they have the ability to be a #1 team on the planet. They're certainly going to be put to the test today as they're taking on a direct invite to the International 3 and Team Dignitas. Once again, I'm EC, joined by Merlini for the broadcast. And yeah, we just saw Dignitas, I think, they were in decent shape early on taking on Team Liquid. But Liquid able to just counterpunch more effectively, take them out of their rhythm. And that's something RoX.KIS is going to be looking to do here today as well.
Yep, you got to be more than decent early though versus Shadow Fiend. It's like, if you're behind early game versus PL, you're going to lose the game. Regardless, RoX.KIS, yep, they've been performing very strong recently. I mean, I don't want to say that it came out of nowhere, but as you said, they definitely perform what I would consider their skill ceiling, and they've just been turning a lot of heads lately, overperforming, I'd say.
Right.
I didn't have them anywhere close to my predictions on my compendium, but they came out swinging. BZZ on his gyrocopter, and a lot of teams banning out versus him, and if you don't, they're going to first pick it. I see him first pick it almost every single time, regardless of the other heroes in the pool. But regardless, Team Dignitas has banned out Keeper Light as well as Clockwork, and first pick Lifestealer. RoX.KIS, Radical Online Extremist, has banned Wisp as well as Batrider, and taking the first two picks, Gyrocopter and the one of the few Lifestealer counters, Bane.
Yeah, Bane, a fantastic pickup. And, just having that hero, not just against the Lifestealer as well. I mean, Bane, one of the things that makes Bane such a high-tier hero, especially when it's in the face of something like a Lifestealer, is obviously he does counter the LS, and he does so in a variety of ways. He's able to use Fiend's Grip, which, of course, goes through Magic Immunity, makes Rage next to useless unless you have someone dedicated to just taking the Bane out of the channel whenever he does cast it. But he can also use Enfeeble early in the laning phase. It makes it very, very easy to go in a try-on-try if you want to build in that direction to apply some pressure to that Lifestealer. Just Enfeeble him, make last hitting very difficult. And again, that's another ability. Magic Immunity just doesn't matter. You cannot cast it when a hero is Magic Immune. But Magic Immunity, once it's cast, if Lifestealer rages, it doesn't purge the ability either. So Bane works really well in that regard. Lifestealer is also a hero who really benefits a lot from having another damage dealer picked with him. Lone Druid, Lifestealer, that's one of the more common combinations you'll see, especially in the Eastern scene, in the Chinese, the Southeast Asia, so on and so forth. Very common just for that reason. Both of them benefit from having a little bit of help early on as they try to get their good start, try to arc their way into a nice mid-game. This time, though, Dignitas picking up two supports to go right with that LS, the Nyx Assassin and the Leshrac. Very easy to see that winding up being an offensive tri-lane, or it could potentially just be a tri-lane drafted because they anticipate that they might see an offensive tri-lane out of RoX.KIS.
I'm surprised they didn't go for Shadow Demon here. Shadow Demon, pretty good versus Bane, and I don't think RoX.KIS is going to take it, but it's just perfect setup, for example, for Leshrac or whatever they may be. But instead, they go for a dual stun with a lot more firepower and more pushing potential, too, with this Leshrac. So, looks like they will take out Magnus. Magnus, again, used to be top 4 picks, and then sometimes he slipped by and got taken in, like, the latter few, but now he's, like, fallen off a lot. And in the last game, Team Liquid versus Dignitas, Magnus wasn't picked up at all, and he wasn't banned out in the first phase either. So I expect to see a lot less of Magnus. It seems like people have learned to play against him and abuse the fact that he is actually not very good early game at all. And if you can get a good start versus him, whether it be Skywrath or Queen of Pain or Puck, Storm, any of those heroes, and can prevent him from getting like a 15-minute Arcane Blink and delay his Blink Dagger as long as possible, he's actually not too bad to deal with as long as you are decent about positioning and don't put yourself into those sort of bad situations. But to round off RoX.KIS's lineup, they have Darkseer and Gyrocopter and Bane. We see them pick this up a lot, and they love to do vacuum into call down, and they're actually very good about executing it too. And I'm afraid that some of these heroes are just going to get completely rocked. If Leshrac gets caught in that, he's dead. If Nyx gets caught in that, yeah, he'll be able to spike Carapace one instance of damage, but he's still also going to get rocked. And Team Dignitas doesn't really have the tanky heroes just because Lifestealer can get shut down by Bane, and again, they just have a lot of damage on the side of RoX.KIS right now. But on the plus side, Team Dignitas will probably be able to run aggressive triple lane with this lineup, something that we did not see them do last game, and hopefully shut out their carries farm. And that is very important. BZZ, if he's given free farm, he'll just get early HOD. I see him get a lot of time, and just stack Ancients and just take off on a net worth graph. So I think they'll be looking to shut that down. And Lone Druid making it to the second phase.
Lone Druid is the pickup from Dignitas, and I talked briefly about, those two heroes just benefit so much from having each other on the same team because one could pick up the slack from the other. Now, I thought we might see. Ended up seeing Owie go with the offlane Lone Druid in his last appearance just against Team Liquid just moments ago. So that could be what we see here again. Again, though, Lifestealer just seems to thrive in an offensive tri-lane. Up against a Bane, though, it can be very, very difficult. Gyrocopter, a ranged hero, gives him a little bit more breathing room whenever he's trying to farm in the face of aggression. But, when you see a Leshrac, especially when you have a long-ranged stun from Nyx Assassin, that's easy to. It's real, like you said, the Shadow Demon pick would have worked very well just to set up the Split Earth. But Impale is fairly mana efficient. I mean, Nyx does have some mana problems early on. That's why he wants to get up a set of Arcane Boots as quickly as he can for the most part. But being able to lead off with the Impale, follow it with the Split Earth, then you have the Open Wounds, allows them to do a lot of pressure, or apply a lot of pressure out of that situation. RoX.KIS is going to go ahead and respond with a Chen. So, but that Chen pick now showing, that might be the cue for Dignitas to look to go ahead and be aggressive if they haven't already. Give Owie free farm in the solo safe lane with the Lone Druid. Now it becomes a question of whether these two teams are going to try to dodge or try to engage each other's tri-lane.
Yep, and we see early Chen pickup. Chen, I'm looking at their lineup right now. They don't really have that good anti-push either. And if you give Chen the early tower and just early level 6, early level 7 with those 3 creeps, it's a pretty big problem. We saw Midas last game not really do that much, and they have a Nyx this time to try and infest for that quick heal and just knock out one of his creeps. But again, RoX.KIS has a pretty strong 5-man lineup, and but Lifestealer, Lone Druid, those two are just impossible to deal with most of the time. You can shut one down, maybe, and most likely neither of them are going to get shut down, and that's just usually how it goes. And they just get the farm and they just crush people. They're so difficult to kill and just apply pressure all around the map. Those two heroes are incredible. Regardless, last pick for Dignitas will be Storm Spirit.
Storm Spirit going to round out the lineup for Dignitas. Really like the way that hero is going to end up working with them. Storm is a hero who does need some core items to really feel like he's at max effectiveness, getting up an Orchid, getting up a BKB. Those two items in particular allow him to scale into the later phases of the mid game and on through to the late game. So he does need a good start, and obviously with the draft we see, very high likelihood we'll see Sneaking take that hero mid. But what that gives them is the ability to initiate from downtown, to go after the Bane, to go after the Gyrocopter, to go after targets that they anticipate will cause problems for their damage dealers. Now, that Bane, I had talked about the fact that he can shut down Lifesteal in a variety of ways. He also is so good against this combination in particular. He has an answer for almost everything a Lifestealer and a Lone Druid can give you. So long as he's in the right position, he has a team that's able to protect him while he gets his spells off. He can enfeeble the bear, he can then Nightmare the Druid himself, or vice versa, Nightmare the bear, enfeeble the Druid, and then use Fiend's Grip on the Lifestealer. Basically mix and match, however you want to approach it. In either case, being able to reduce the damage on one of those two damage dealers, one of those three, I guess, if you count the Panda itself. Well, it's usually a Panda because almost every pro owns that skin now, but the Lone Druid's bear, just being able to have a way to account for almost all of it. And now the OD pickup, that's really not a big surprise given they're going to be able to fairly easily anticipate the Storm Spirit going mid. OD's ability to just constantly imprison the Storm Spirit makes life very, very hard for him. And OD does add to that very, very potent 5-on-5 team fight potential that you had been talking about. The fact they have the chin there for sustain, they're going to be able to push off of it. Now they have OD's really strong right click because of his orb and his ultimate.
Yep, and I'm surprised to see them ban Queen of Pain and Puck. There's no point in banning Queen of Pain and Puck if you let Storm through. Those three heroes are pretty much just interchangeable. All three very good Lifestealer bombs, all three pretty good with farm, snowball very easily, decent at escaping and farming. I mean, those three heroes fit very similar roles, and if you ban two of them, they're just going to take the last one. So there's really no point in taking and banning out those heroes. They banned Furion as their third one. Regardless, on the side of Dire, we have RoX.KIS. We see BZZ on his signature Gyrocopter, Dread on most likely the offlane Darkseer, Solo on the mid OD. I don't know who the Bane player is, but looks like Skoro, I don't know, something like that. And I forget their full entire line. I know BZZ, Dread, and Solo, but you gotta help me out with these last two.
Honestly, I have not broadcasted RoX.KIS enough to know them either. I'll just be blunt with you. I mean, they just haven't been involved in a lot of events I've done. So we'll just call him Chen. That is Chen.
I'll try and look it up real fast.
That is Chen playing on Chen on the other side of the river. We got Nyx.
Yol and Vanscore.
There we go. On the other side of the river, we got Nyx Assassin. He's going to be handled by Way Too Sexy. Leshrac going to be played by Fogged. No surprise to see Universe here on the Lifestealer. He has been playing a lot more carry. Owie for the second game in a row. He is actually setting up shop in mid, so this is an interesting approach if they want to do this. But Owie back on the Lone Druid, played in their last game against Team Liquid as well, and the Storm Spirit is going to be handled by Sneaking. And yeah, this is kind of what I thought we might see. I honestly anticipated Owie in the solo safe lane, but I'm going to guess he's just assuming it's going to be an OD, and this makes a ton of sense. I don't think this was the plan originally, but the fact that OD is just not nearly as annoying to a Lone Druid in mid. Astral Imprisonment, the fact that it drains intelligence, yeah, you could say that's a problem for an intelligence-heavy hero like Storm Spirit. It makes it very hard for him to last hit, makes him very vulnerable, reduces his mana pool so it's much easier to gank him, so on and so forth. And this is just a really simple, really nice solution to that. You say, okay, you're going to invest in that OD just for the advantage you think it's going to grant you in mid. We'll just switch it up. We'll send the Lone Druid mid. That's not a common place for that hero, but it's not unheard of. And then we're going to send Sneaking up against the Darkseer, where he should be able to do just fine.
Yep, I think very good lane choice by Dignitas, and being able to aggressive triple lane is very, very good. And like again, you can shut out Gyrocopter early if you have a Lifestealer. Lifestealer is one of the few heroes that can just absolutely crush a Gyrocopter because he really relies on that Rocket Barrage early game. And we see Chen on the bottom lane, so it's going to be a 3-on-2, 3 Dignitas on 2 of RoX.KIS's here on top lane. And I suspect that BZZ will not have that good of a time up there. Regardless, we see Chen actually pick up the camp at the big camp here, and he could very easily rotate mid. We see the Spirit Bear already scout him out, though, so it looks like Owie won't be in any imminent danger.
Owie moving his bear down, keeps a look on things, at the very least soaking up experience. Just hit level 2. He's just not even a half step behind the OD. And Shen, of course, getting off to a good start, but now that he's been spotted out, Howie's just going to come over. And yeah, there's just not a lot Shen can do. He can use the Satyr Tormentor to try to zone him out, but he doesn't want to hang around too long with just level 1 on his enchantability. It means that
Dread.
Up the top. We can see, hang on. Dread is going to be able to make it back to Chen, so Sneaking able to do some damage. But in the meantime, we remain with no first blood quite on the board. But now that Chen's been spotted out, we'll see if they want to put any pressure on here. Honestly, though, I think Dignitas is going to be fairly happy with the way these lanes are going to work out. The LS already in good shape. We can see he is being enfeebled to try and make life a little harder last, hitting 35 damage on his auto attacks right now. Not too fun.
Yeah, and the advantage of having Chen in this bottom lane is that he can...
Hang on, we're going to have Gyro engaged upon. The Impale follows the open wounds. Oh, nice Nightmare, but they juggle it a bit. Not going to matter. First blood goes the way of Way Too. Excuse me, actually, yeah, it actually was Way Too that got that. Goes the way of Dignitas is what I meant to say, but Way Too was the one who ended up getting the last hit. Now Sneaking, taking some damage, and the Satyr's now hasted, or surged rather, using the Ion Shell to melt down Sneaking. Sneaking able to use his salve, though. He's got plenty of regen, and should be in quite good shape in terms of being able to sustain down here. Very creative use of the Chen and the Darkseer combination, putting pressure on in ways that normally you wouldn't see.
Yeah, Chen really needs a big creep. He has 2 mud golems and no spawn, so he is just out of luck right now. Like, poor guy. I guess he can take this Furbolg over here, the Hellbear Smasher, I think is the correct term, but a little bit unlucky by him. And the Sentry Ward actually blocks his spawn, so he's not going to have access to that for a couple of minutes. Regardless, looks like Dignitas is doing pretty well, but this top lane is not going in favor of RoX.KIS. I mean, 3 versus 2, you pretty much just expect BZZ to die, but I think BZZ, I don't think they're making good enough use out of this Chen though. They haven't killed mid, they haven't killed bottom yet, and it just doesn't. I really haven't felt the impact of him. He's only level 2, or only level 2 right now. He's not even level 3. He's at like half HP, but it looks like we might see some action out of him. We see him smoking. We see smoke from 2 heroes in the middle too. Watch Solo.
There we go. Solo eats the impale. Leshrax's there, beautifully followed up. That's going to be another kill going the way of Dignitas. So flexing their muscles early on and getting themselves a nice little lead. And it's not just that they've gotten 2 kills. It's been 2 extremely high priority kills, bringing the OD down and bringing down the gyrocopter. We're going to see sneaking, force back, eats a little bit of damage from the Hellbear Smasher. The clap now able to get at least 1 kill. TP reaction's going to be there. It's going to be fogged, and yep, Dread's going to end up dropping. So they got greedy and paid the price, diving all the way back, sneaking, able to keep himself alive, 4-0. And this game really beginning to spiral out of control in the early laning phase.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like if you lose an early game against the PL, you're going to lose. If you lose the early game with a Chen, you're probably going to lose too. So things are already not looking good for RoX.KIS, and I think a lot of it has to do with the Chen. He's only level 2 right now, a little bit unlucky with the creep storm, but very nice defensive warding by here, kind of predicting that they are going to offensive jungle and just nullifying the early game presence from this Chen. Now he's forced to go into his own jungle. He's level 3, but on the plus side, BZZ will get some more support now. They only have 2 heroes up there right now after the supports rotated mid, and looks like Dignitas is just looking really good right now. Aui's falling a little bit behind in terms of last hits, but that's not that big of a deal for them. Aui is like well and able to catch up on farm come mid game.
Taking a look at Universe, he's beginning to fall behind a little bit as well. Now, this is one of the risks you run whenever you run an offensive tri lane like this. Very good TP reaction helps nullify that a little bit when Leshrax went bottom. But trying to make sure that you're getting a lot out of this. The Gyro has been sucked up under his own tower for a while. He's now atop the CS board. That's not where you want him to be if you've dedicated 3 heroes to an offensive tri lane. Fog, though, is not part of it. And what a shot from Fog! Beautiful split earth, and now Dread gonna double back, will be cleaned up. Immaculate shot. Fogged had to lead that for probably about 400 distance. He had to lead that. The surge came out, he timed it out perfectly, predicted the path, and makes it 5-0. Great shot and another kill going the way of the North American squad.
He's there. Yep. Not much going on here. Just RoX.KIS not really doing anything in the early game. Chen is rotating top, but that's the only rotation that we've seen from them this game. They're in such a passive position right now. 5-0 already in favor of Dignitas. First blood, 1,000 XP in favor of them, and around 1,000 gold earned. And it looks like they will smoke and try and make something happen around the map. Universe does have a haste. I don't think he'll be their primary target, especially with Bane not being even close to level 6.
Speaking of level 6, hold that thought. We're going to see Solo engage upon. Universe is there. Aui's right behind him. He's going to go ahead and drop the ulti. And there's a stomp from the Centaur. Going to lock down lock down 2, actually. The Bear and Universe. Universe will have a rage in 1 second. He's going to have to use it. No, hang on. Dread playing very aggressive. Almost got caught out, but will be able to surge himself. Nope, never mind. Fog cuts off the pass. There's the root. And Dread makes it 6-0 so far. RoX.KIS hanging a bagel on up on the scoreboard. 7 minutes in, 6 kills, and they all belong to Dignitas. So not only are their supports getting levels, but their carries are being given a lot of farm. However, speaking of carries, BZZ is getting exactly what he could ask for. He's getting everything he could ask for. A solo lane that is it's basically been abandoned for the most part. Dignitas doing what they could early on, but just so well played. He's still getting decent CS, but the counterpoint and that Storm Spirit is doing well too. Sneaking, sitting at 40. He's in 2nd position in terms of CS. He will be going for an Orchid. Already has up 2 Sage's masks.
Yeah, on the plus side, Solo didn't die in that fight, and that's actually pretty important as an OD. You really do not want to fall behind with that hero. And again, space was created for BZZ to farm top, and they did get ward set up. They have this very nice ward in middle that we see, and this one on top lane. So both their carries should be protected for a little bit, and they can recover quite easily if they play it correctly. And it looks like they're trying to stack a little bit of camps, unable to stack this big one, unfortunately for them. But they just need to try and stack some farm for Gyro so he can start making an impact. He will have his drums relatively soon. Let's check out the OD. It looks like he is going to rush a mech, I guess. He does have Hedra's Recipe on the chicken. Too poor for a 4-step right now.
Doing what he can to just disrupt Owie. Owie, though, not in bad shape. I mean, given it's a mid matchup, it's range versus melee, it's been a relatively active lane. He's sitting at 20 CS at 8.5 minutes in. Certainly not setting the world on fire, but he could be in much, much worse position. So at 8.5 minutes into this game, you got, the obvious is the obvious. They're trailing by 6 kills. We'll take our first look at the goal graph now. I usually wait till 10 minutes. I figured it would be just about 1,000. Not the biggest in the world, given no towers have dropped, and kills in the early game only really matter all that much. I mean, they matter more so in just, oh, hang on, look at that, another immaculate, very nice shot on the split earth, and the follow-up from Storm is there. They get a kill on the Gyro. Everything they could want in terms of trying to bring down a high priority target. And Dignitas, this is what they do. Was going to say RoX.KIS is really, given the obvious, the fact they are behind, they are beginning to have this laning phase come apart on them. They should be feeling the urgency to execute. Dignitas, though, is basically just taking their thunder away from them, just being half a step ahead, being in the right position, and making things happen on the map that forces RoX.KIS to play much more defensively than I feel like they really should be.
Yeah, I agree, and usually you want to be on the aggressive with this early game. Chen take out towers, get a couple kills, but again, just a big goose egg on their side right now, and they're forced to be in this defensive position where they try and stack, try and get some more levels. Chen is only level 4 right now, and Bane is also only level 4. Once they get level 6 on each of their respective heroes, I think they can start to make things happen and turn this game around, but it looks like Fog is trying to lay a ward, and Dignitas really needs vision though, just so they can look for the pickouts that they need and just see the rotations from their support, see if they're stacking. Again, this ancient spawn hasn't been touched at all. I fully expect RoX.KIS to be doing that soon, but Chen only has 1 creep to work with right now. We usually see Chen's pick it up in lieu of an HOD on Gyrocopter, but again, only level 4, 1 creep, and looks like he's about to die again.
Chen in trouble. There's a nicely placed impale as well. Bane will be next on the list. Another great split earth. Call down's going to be there. Don't know that it's going to be enough to save him, and it won't be. So that's going to be 9-0 now. 9-0. Dignitas absolutely perfect through 10.5 minutes of play. All towers still standing, though, so the gold, basically, I mean, given the Gyro leads the CS, the fact that Dignitas is still coming up on 2,000 gold ahead without a single tower down is really, really quite impressive.
We really need to start, they need to start making use of like the vacuum and call down combos that we see them use very often. Chen is pretty much just a non-factor at this point. He's still level 4, still trying to get his creeps, and they really just have to rely. Put all their eggs in one basket at this point. BZZ carry them.
Here we go, sneaking. Look at the splitters again. That was a bit of an easier one that Fog's been landing, but I'll tell you what, one of the hardest things of being a Leshrac isn't just hitting the splitters. If you're there and the fight breaks out, then hitting it's not always the hardest. But being in the right position, just out of view, knowing the abilities wind up time that well that you can time. And in mid, Dread looks like a root locked him down. Way 2 was there along with Ali. It is now 11-0. Dignitas just in utter control of their destiny right now. And in fairness, I'm not making excuses for them, but just to give the honest, full context, RoX.KIS again coming off a bad loss, seeing themselves bounced out in 3rd place out of the international qualifiers prior to this match. It's also very late where they are. If anything, it's got to be 3 in the morning, give or take.
But they're still hanging on there. Still, all their towers are up, and they do have pretty good late game heroes, although I don't know. I'm just worried about these supports just like feeding massively, especially that Storm is pretty close to his Orchid, and they're making very good use of Nake's bombs. That's just like makes his dream come true, like a Chen with no items. He has a medallion though. Might be an early Roshan actually.
12.5 minutes in. Looks like our first towers are going to be under assault here in mid. In the meantime, RoX.KIS has 3 together, make it 5 if you count the 2 Centaurs. They're going to take the tier 1 there. At least they should be able to without a whole lot of contesting. As the 275 HP, not going to keep that structure standing for long. Down it goes. Same story at mid. So at the very least, RoX.KIS finally manages to kill something, just not a hero. It still remains 12-0. And the gold just about 4,000 into the advantage of Dignitas even after the tower trade. Now they're beginning to put some pressure down on bottom tier 1 as well. Bane gonna react and feebles up. Nice Nightmare. Here comes Storm though. He's gonna be able to land and has to jump again. They're all grouped up. Can they make the most of it? The Astral Imprisonment buys a little bit of time. Looks like that's gonna be enough. Surge on the OD. Looking for a target. Can he find it? He's got his ulti. There's open wounds. Got ahead of his team a bit too much. Calldowns there. There's the ulti from OD as well. Sneaking jumps through the trees to keep himself alive. Another good impale. Fogged is right there, and again they get a return kill. Dread now in trouble. Astral Imprisonment buys a little bit of time. Solo is slowed from the storm. Both of them are low. Universe has open wounds now. He will spend it. We see the OD down. Make it another kill unanswered. 13 minutes, 45 seconds into this game. 15 kills on the board, and every single one of them belongs to Dignitas. They take another tower and extend their lead even further.
Yeah, poor guys. I mean, this OD pick is not good versus Nick. This was taken very early in the draft. As you get more and more intel, that mana burn just hits like a truck. I think it hit for almost 300 at that point, and that's just ridiculous. But he almost has a mech. Looks like they are falling very, very far behind in terms of everything at this point. Kills, XP, and gold. Trying desperately to hang on to this T2 tower.
TP reaction's going to be there. Let's see if they want to pursue anything out. Bear just barely able to make it away. They actually enfeebled him first. He's now going to turn and gets the root on Bane. However, there's an Astral Imprisonment, and they're going to re-engage. Call down. Universe is going to rage through it. He's up there. Another good root on BCC. There's the vacuum. Can they finally get a kill on the board? Finally! They put it together. And Dread knows it says pwned. And Fiend's Grip.
Gets grip.
Gonna catch Universe. So, all of a sudden, they go from 0 to 2. Finally making some things happen. Owie might be in trouble as he's in the corner. He's stunned out. Bear's there. The wall actually goes down. Solo and Owie. And he imprisons himself just to make sure the Bear can't possibly get another kill. So finally they find their way onto the kill tally. 16-3. We can see 6-0 for Storm, 3-1, 3-1 apiece for the Leshrac and the Lifestealer. And Owie's not a little bit of friendly banter, and I like that a lot. Nyx Assassin at 2 for nil, make it 3 for nil as he gets another kill. There's a Split Earth as well. Can they re-engage? Here comes Storm looking to make that tally even higher. We're going to see the Bane in trouble. BCC gets off the call down. Storm going to jump out of the call down, and he'll be cleaned up. Dread now the target, and this, the Russian text courier is, I've never actually noticed that, but yes, it appears with Russian text apparently when you click on it as a caster. They get 3, 4, make it 5 if you count the couriers. So, RoX.KIS not having the most time in the world to enjoy their brief victory as all of a sudden Dignitas ready to come back and fight quicker than they could get their gloves up.
Yeah, man, they're just falling so far behind at this point. Gyrocopter's so poor, so is OD. He almost has his mech, and he almost has his drum. So small victory for them that they picked up some kills. They're on the scoreboard, though. That's what matters. And as his Dread said, pwned.
Here we go. There's an infest. They're going to smoke. Look for targets again. Ward goes down. They're going to go ahead and send a couple of illusions up that way. Those are going to be spotted out. And in the meantime, they find Solo again. Solo cleaned up with absolutely no reprisal. And Bane can do nothing but retreat. He's down for 32 seconds. Should be a free Roshan. If they want it. Nope, they're just going to bypass it.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, Chad is finally level 7. They got some creeps going for them. 2 towers now. That's pretty good. Small victories. I mean, we have seen some pretty ridiculous Divine Rapier Gyrocopter comebacks. He's only 5,400 gold off, though.
No, I mean, you know, it's a start, right? He's making progress.
Gotta start somewhere.
Nearly 10,000 gold the advantage for Dignitas. They've now eclipsed the 5-figure mark in terms of experience lead, and that's really where the problem is. We can joke about gold all we want, and gold certainly does matter, especially when you're talking heroes who really need to have items up to feel super effective like a gyro. But the experience is just going to continue to be a problem. Gyro, level 10, doesn't even have level 2 call down yet. And one would hope he would have that by now under most normal circumstances. Level 10 on the Lifestealer, he's got his Armos complete as well. That Storm Spirit, though, is level 14. Has an Orchid complete, has the point booster done as well, so he's feeling not only elusive, but very tanky as well, and has the ability to pour in a lot of damage. RoX has smoked up, and sneaking. Gonna dodge the vacuum, whether intentionally or unintentionally. He makes it back to the loving clutches of his teammates here in mid. But RoX.KIS still with a long way to go. They want to try and stabilize this game and give themselves a chance.
Yeah, I think Fog's actually been playing very, very well. Who needs a Shadow Demon set up when he can just hit him? Ooh, what a nice stun by way too there.
Sneaking, making a run for it. He's going to be imprisoned. Now the rest of Dignitas is heading this way. Let's see how much they want to come in. He's going to be able to make it away. Now they're going to re-engage. I hear a Fiend's Grip going off. That's going to be on Universe. Sneaking doing what he can, but it's 1-on-3 in the meantime. We see a root catching Bane. We're going to see Chen make a run for it, but will not be permitted to go as he's locked down and killed. Wall went down, not the best wall in history. Ults drop, but not doing that much damage. In the meantime, we're going to see stuns on both sides. And in the meantime, that's a full 5-man wipe. So Dignitas able to react. Very odd spread out fight. Kind of got strung out across the riverbed there. But they're going to be able to take a Roshan as their prize. 26-4. The gold up to 12,000 in their favor. 14,000 experience. And the GG going to be cold. And I don't think that really surprises anyone. Dignitas seized control early and never let off the gas.
Yep, and I think Fog just played extremely well, just being everywhere at once, hitting those stuns even without appropriate setup a lot of the time, and overall just well played by Dignitas. I don't think that RoX.KIS really handled the triple lane situation very well. I mean, they picked aggressive triple lane heroes with dual stunners and lifestealer. That's very, very common to see that just going to aggressive triple lane, and BZZ just never really got the form that he needed and got the early kills, and they just kind of fell apart everywhere. And when you have a dual lane up top, you really want to get someone out of your roaming support, which is Chen in this case. But again, he didn't really do anything early game, and they actually fed 2 kills on bottom, and then after that it's just, if you lose early game with Chen, you're gonna lose most of the time.
Sub 20 minutes. 19 minutes, 48 seconds, all the time it took for Dignitas to make this a 1-0 affair. 26-4, the final kill score, and a dominant performance. The North American squad managing to hang a very quick loss on the third-place finishers in the international qualifiers. I'm AC, joined by Merlini. This is our last series of the day. RoX.KIS taking on Dignitas. And RoX.KIS fighting for their lives here. They're going to have to turn that bagel into a breadstick. They want to try and force a Game 3 and keep their hopes alive here in the Curse Invitational. We'll be right back, guys. Hang with us. Don't go anywhere.